And I feel like I could spread my wings and fly. Feet on fire, feet on fire. And I feel like I could spread my wings and fly.
Heavy, heavy, heavy. So, yeah, you just listened to Starglide featuring Cammy Robinson. And, yeah, you definitely don't need me to tell you how good of a singer-songwriter Cammy Robinson is. I mean, she sounds incredible on this track, despite the fact that we deviated pretty far away from her comfort zone. So, yeah, she still delivered the goods. This next track is called The Sanctuary, and another bit of a curveball and deviation from my normal sound, as it were. So enjoy.
This
What's happening, people? It's Muzz, and you are listening to my track Salvation featuring Bloodhounds on Call of the Wild. This track is taken from my debut album, The Promised Land, which is out everywhere right now.
Give it one more chance. Let me put a penny in your box and just save my soul. It's not a lot to ask for. You won't even grant me this. Give me a life of sin and forever as a slave to you. Why should I do this? Why should I be even a better man? It's a hypocrisy. Why don't you understand? Why don't you understand? Why don't you understand? Holy places built on broken bones, and the people like to call it home. Holy places built on broken bones.
This is salvation.
Just save my soul. Give me one more chance. Holy places built on broken bones. Holy places built on broken bones.
This is salvation.
If I pray for help from above, might as well pray to the homeless. At least they have empathy. Money's man-made, yeah, it's God's only currency. Why should I do this? Why should I be the better man? It's a hypocrisy. Why don't you understand? Why don't you understand? Why don't you understand?
This is salvation.
So yeah, that rock and roller coaster of a track you just listened to was called Salvation, featuring Bloodhounds. Bloodhounds are a British hard rock band who I went to see in like a pub one day, and I absolutely fell in love with them, and they're all brilliant guys and they're super talented. And I thought, yeah, let's make a tune together and see what happens. And nothing more to be said on that one. This next track coming in is called The Warehouse, featuring Pavan from Foreign Beggars and the mighty Miss Trouble.
Walking through the tunnel and it's danger. No lights, the dark entertainer. Clouds then puff, dissipate in the laser. We can glow sparks, enough art to blaze ya. Listen up, walking through the tunnel and it's danger. No lights, the dark entertainer. Clouds then puff, dissipate in the laser. We can glow sparks, enough art to blaze ya. Listen up.
Yeah, from the cradle to the urn. They tried to tell me exercise my patience, wait my turn. Big concern when these pagans finna learn. What adjourn, paradigm shift.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's Boise State Esports broadcast. I'm your host, Jacob Jem Palmer, and tonight we are covering the Missouri High School Esports League. Now, this is an event that you might not have seen in a little while because we weren't able to bring you the broadcast last week due to weather conditions affecting Missouri, but now we are back ready to bring you some fresh Overwatch action. And as if we're not making enough of a statement to say we are back and we are here, joining us in studio is Artie Nerdy Rain instead of remote. They have joined us in the studio instead, and this is going to be a great kind of reset for the season that we have seen thus far. We only saw 1 week of these talented teams out of Missouri, and now after a little bit of a break, I wanted to see what kind of improvements in skill we are going to see given all the time that that has passed since the last time we broadcast.
2 weeks in at least terms of Overwatch meta shifts and updates, especially like the Orisa buff that came out, is actually a lot, in my opinion, to at least spend personally and with your team to improve. So definitely I feel like, even though it is Reaper Friday, we will see a lot of improvement coming out of both these teams. I mean, I hate to put it this way, but Snowmageddon, which is what I believe Missouri was basically experiencing for the last week or 2 weeks or even more, fingers crossed you don't have to continue to deal with it, unfortunately kind of keeps you trapped in your house, and so hopefully they use some of that time to improve their Overwatch gameplay. Did have a little bit of fun on their own, even if it was playing Overwatch or raging in Overwatch, but you know, hopefully they made the best of it, and I'm really excited to see what they've been able to do in the last 2 weeks.
Well, let's take a look at the event tonight. It's the spring Overwatch season of the Missouri the MOSEF Spring Overwatch season. 14 schools in an 8-week season. All teams are seeded in the playoffs, and then we have 4 weeks of playoffs in April. So much to bring you over the upcoming weeks, and in this match tonight, it's going to be Ozark High School versus St. John Vianney High School, the Tigers versus the Griffins, if I am not mistaken. I know Nerdy was commenting just a little earlier over how cool a mascot something like a Griffin is. Not that a tiger isn't fierce enough on its own. But how did we get here to bring you these two teams? Well, the standings so far have been kind of shaken up just due to the fact, but has anything jumped out to you based on just kind of the past matches we have seen, or any teams, even if we're not seeing them tonight, to keep an eye on?
So the biggest thing that I have noticed coming out of all of these schools, and even in general playing competitive and also watching the Boise State team recently, is main tank. If your main tank is not does not have their head in the game, making the right calls, making the right pathing for your team, that sort of thing, it will fall apart, and you will get, as everyone likes to say, MTD'd, which is main tank diffed. So hopefully that doesn't happen to either one of these teams.
Hopefully it doesn't. And the matchup for those two teams, as I said earlier, is the Ozark High versus St. John Vianni Griffins. That's pronounced Vianni, so I think I got it right the first time. But the Tigers versus the Griffins in tonight's matchup. I don't believe I have seen the Griffins play thus yet in the Missouri High School Esports Association broadcast, if my memory serves me correctly. So it'll be interesting to see how they apply themselves and how they take into account Doc's keys to the game, which understand your comp and play style, focus on each fight, pre-fight target priority, and commit together. Doc's keys to the game brought to us by Count. Count Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud protection, account protection, and enables personalized customer experience with more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. You can go to count.com for more information on that. So we go into the first match, which is going to be Lijon Tower.
Hang on. Look at those names on the right. That is our Boise State Blue Squad.
Interesting. So I don't know if this is maybe more of a scrim of some sort, but any game. Okay, wait. We started on we started on Lijon, then we teleported over to Nepal. So.
All right. This is our actual teams right here. We got a little tidbit of the last night's scrim. That's okay. Boise State did come out on top against Fresno State, so we don't have to cast that one. Everyone already knows. And we can go into this game right here with St. John coming out right here on the red side. They are taking a slower pace match right now. They are with Baptiste and Zenyatta, so they're playing for more spam and poke damage right now, which means they need to get a pick and then move in. Whereas you can see Ozark is going more dive style, and they've got that McCree to prevent the tanks from moving forward.
Well, in terms of that initial pick, it looks like the Soldier and the Reinhardt are going to be the first eliminations. And a quick res onto the Reinhardt, onto Crackle for Ozark, is going to put them at the advantage, allowing them to take the point.
So looking at both of these comps right here, you can see that the side of Ozark, they don't have a lot of damage in comparison to the side of St. John. That Baptiste and the Zenyatta put a lot of frontline pressure on that Reinhardt. So the way that the Ozark team has to play is using natural cover right now, not trying to take a whole lot of pre-poke and spam, using obviously map geometry and trying to utilize cooldowns and get the cooldowns out from the side of St. John, which they managed to do the first round. But now that they're kind of more hunkered down and moving at a pace that St. John's more comfortable with, it might be a little bit harder to break down this comp on the second attempt.
Well, Ozark just has even more ultimates that just came online for them as the Valkyrie is popped. We also see Amplification Matrix being used by the Baptiste, and a charge right into the point is going to get rid of the Lucio, allowing St. John to get more of a foothold onto this point. Transcendence does come available for the Zenyatta, as we can see right here. Not going to use it just yet. Mercy is taken out by that Zenyatta, putting Ozark at the disadvantage that allows St. John Vianney to take the point and start the ticker going up for them.
Going into this next fight, though, if you look at the side of Ozark, they've got both their DPS ults as well as their Reinhardt Earth Shatter. Any one of those DPS ults plus that Shatter, if it's pulled off on at least 2 people, is more than enough to help win this fight. But if you look at St. John's, they are also chilling out on that Zen ult that can save them so long as the Zen is within LOS. Let's just hope the Diva self-destruct doesn't get thrown, and they pop a Zen ult to try and save people. Okay, good, because Zen ult don't save you against a bomb.
Not only is they using the Zen ult, but they use the Shatter and the Bongo. Deadeye comes out and actually gonna pick up 2 for Ozark, but that's just gonna have to be a consolation for them as Elfie just comes tearing into the side of Ozark after they use those ultimates, allowing them to keep the point. Cake and Crackle pick up 2 eliminations of their own to try to keep St. John Vianney keeping the point, and that's gonna be a nasty stagger placed on to Cyclone, making Ozark have to wait just a little bit longer before they want to take this point.
Unfortunately for the side of Ozark, their DPS are kind of trying to go for that saving throw play where they're already down 2, but you know, they have a DPS ult. You might be able to kill 2 people, but if you've already used up 2 ultimates and 2 of your teammates are down, you're better off just hanging on to your ult and waiting for a recontest instead of just dropping it and praying, because you are not in a solo queuing environment here, and the teams are communicating. Something to keep in mind.
Well, in drops the Diva from up above, as well as this Reinhardt, which is going to be taken down immediately by Mr. Tux 26 here. And it's going to put St. John at a slight advantage here. And there goes the McCree. The res does come up onto Crackle. Mr. Tux takes a lot of damage by the Diva and Ozark also uses the Lucio beat, and this Diva just goes into 3 members of St. John. That's going to be a point pickup for Ozark, and not a moment too soon, right as it was about to hit 99 for St. John.
So I love the opportunity to use the Lucio beat to be aggressive, which is exactly what we just saw coming out right there from the side of Ozark. However, the Lucio beat is one of the few ultimates in the game that can save you from immediate damage style ult, i.e. the Diva self-destruct or McCree Deadeye. And you can see from the side of St. John, they have that McCree Deadeye, so they're going to have to be heavily reliant on their Diva to stay in mech until that Deadeye comes out, because they don't have anything to prevent that from going off now.
Hyperion takes out the Reinhardt, and a Transcendence is popped, as well as a Valkyrie. Both supports doing everything they can to keep their teams alive as we hit overtime, and Dragon Strike coming out as well. And this McCree for Ozark is doing great work for them, picking up a double, as well as the Diva getting rid of St. John's McCree. A bit of an answer back from the Baptiste, getting rid of the McCree, and now the Diva mech not wanting to give up this point, especially as St. John is almost about to take it for themselves. You see there the Lucio getting onto the point, trying to keep it from going over to St. John's. Both teams have staggered back in, and now Crackle with that strike has managed to take out the Soldier, as well as the enemy Reinhardt taken out by the Lucio. And that Lucio sticking on point might have bought enough time for Ozark to come back here, as the Diva manages to take out Mr. Tux, as well as Apex and Elfie also eliminated, and that's going to be just enough for Ozark. They were hanging on by one Lucio, dancing on the point, and it managed to be just enough for them to take that first round.
It's always important to remember, if you're at 99, you can take a reset. You don't have to use those ultimates, which is what we did see from St. John happening. They used a lot of those ults as kind of a let's not try and lose this point type of opportunity. We did see, I believe the McCree's name is II, or IV, I want to say. That McCree right there, we did see them pop Deadeye, but instead, if they communicated to their team, asked them how long they could sustain, he could have had the opportunity to rotate up to high ground and just communicate, hey, I'm rotating, don't do a soft engage, don't do a hard engage right now, just try to fight to live, maintain point presence, gone to high ground, pop that Deadeye. It would have at least pulled one person off the point and made it a lot easier to sustain there for them. That's just something to keep in mind for the future, though.
Well, talking about pulling people off the point, this particular map has plenty of room for those environmental eliminations with that Lucio. We might see a couple of those boops, but that Lucio is going to help the blue team get to the point. Ozark get to the point first, allowing them to take it and get the early advantage if they can keep this push from going through. And there goes a shatter. Not going to quite work out for them, as Apex and Mr. Tux get 2 eliminations of their own, and now they stagger on. The Griffins stagger back onto the point, and they're going to be the ones to take it, with only 9% gotten by Ozark.
So the really interesting thing to look at in both these comps right here is that for Team 1, if they lose their Reinhardt, the odds of them winning out on that fight actually drop down to about 86%. Same with if they lose their Lucio. However, for Team 2, since they have double main tank running, when they lose their Reinhardt, the odds of them winning actually only drop down to about 90%. So that's something that both teams have to keep in mind, is that when you're fighting for the tanks, both the comps are very different, so win conditions are different, and who do you need to be killing is drastically different.
And that bongo is definitely going to help, as Mr. Tux uses that supercharger, places it down, allowing them to keep Ozark from going at the choke. They're going to have to wait for the reset here. As you can see, Ozark has also decided to bring out the Roadhog, which also brings up a few environmental possibilities there. It looks like one of them, Crackle, might have gotten caught in that shatter and is going to pay dearly for it. But a quick res is going to bring Ozark back to full strength as they continue trying to push through. But Crackle just can't catch a break right now. Tactical Visor is used by the Soldier, taking out Hyperion. But I don't think, actually it is going to be enough. Excuse me, that was St. John using it. So just a little bit of an extra exclamation point there to keep Ozark at this choke.
The side of Ozark right now, their Mercy should be damage boosting their Hanzo a little bit more because of how much shield that St. John's has in comparison to the amount of forward damage that they have coming out for Ozark. So they definitely need to be utilizing that damage boost just a tiny bit more, and Mercy needs to rely on Lucio to be healing her team just a little bit. That comes down to communication, but you definitely, when you're playing Mercy, you're there for damage, not just heal, and I'm not seeing a lot of damage utilization coming out from this Mercy right now.
Well, speaking about damage, Cyclone managed to get enough onto that Orisa to get rid of her. She's going to be sent back to spawn and allowing Ozark to take the point yet again. Now, Ozark managed to snatch victory from a very close match the last time, so they are going to have to play some very good defense here in order to be able to win, because they still have 80 left.
They do, but if you look, they're chilling out on a Reaper Death Loss.
I mean, could it be Reaper Friday, a truth?
It could be a true
Okay,
Reaper
here we go.
Friday.
Well, let's
we see the Immor drop down. If you don't even need to take a shot on it right now, you're in a great spot for it. Come on. Oh, I saw that less than 100 health. You gotta just scream for some help at that point. You can't do much.
Yeah, that was rough to watch, and that's going to allow St. John to be able to tie it up for this match as we are going to a match 3, a little bit of a celebratory walk off of the ledge.
You do that with honor. No matter who wins, you have to go off the edge of the map. All right, so we're going into Village here. And both of these comps that each team has displayed work very well into Village if you can get to point and anchor down first. You can do that using a Symmetra teleporter swap if you're going to run a Reaper, or just sticking with the Symmetra or Lucio speed boosting out the door. But the other thing is that for the side of Ozark, they have not been choosing to go with a lot of spam damage, whereas the side of St. John's has. I really hope that we see possibly a Baptiste swap coming out from Ozark just so they can get more shield damage going into this next game and possibly have a better chance of sustain.
And now both teams get ready to charge towards this point. No Lucio speed boost for either of them, and Ozark has made a couple of swaps onto the Ana and a Junkrat as well as a Symmetra, so we actually might see a Symmetra teleport helping them get to the point there. As Ozark are the first to get to the point, but they're also going to be the first to get picked off as Cake gets taken out by the Soldier.
Yeah, unfortunately, Baptiste, using that high ground, you got to be keeping your head on a swivel, making sure you aren't putting yourself in a bad position, because losing a support, never fun before you've got a full engage happening. We've seen the Baptiste also pop the Immor for the side of John, so neither team really has the ability to stay alive. Using that, Sigma's going to manage to take out the McCree. The Sleep's going to get popped out on this Reinhardt, though, and he's getting double-timed, triple-teamed right now by the side of Ozark, and he might go down.
But they are facing a bit of damage from those Symmetra turrets. Does manage to take them out, but Hyperion is going to take out the Reinhardt. Apex answers that back by getting a double of his own, taking out the Junkrat and the Baptiste. Hyperion answers that back by getting rid of Apex. So some great work by Hyperion here, managing to take the point for Ozark. And enough time for the rest of the members to come back to the point and anchor down.
I'm praying that Apex hangs on to his Transcendence long enough, realizing that Crackle on the side of Ozark has Graphitic Flux ready to go. Almost will have it during this fight, and that we see it popped in order to save the team and not used kind of offensively or just to save himself. We do see the Matrix come out, and unfortunately Reinhardt's going to go down to a headshot coming out from Baptiste, so that's already one down for the side of the Ozarks right now. And the Junk Tire is going to come out and even the playing field, losing both the Orisa and a Baptiste.
But is it too little too late? There goes the Gravitic Flux, and that just is going to be enough for Ozark to keep control of this point, getting 4 eliminations there. That is quite the play there. And it goes to what you were saying. You were saying hold the Transcendence for the Gravitic Flux, and
it won't save your teammates from a Junk Tire because that's instantaneous damage. It won't save you from a Kree Deadeye, and it won't save you from a Diva Self-Destruct. It only saves you from things like Grav, Graphitic Flux, and that's about it, unless it's a Lucio Sound Barrier.
Well, they're going to have to wait for that to charge up before they can take that advice into account. But they do have some other ultimates available, as speaking of the Visor, and there goes the Sim Barrier, as well as a Shatter and Amplification Matrix. Ozark throwing everything they have to keep this point. A little of a mine thrown out there by the Junkrat, trying to get rid of Apex, manages to get the mine onto him. That is some great, that is some great accuracy from the Junkrat there. And the Soldier tries running back, but isn't going to make it back to point, as Cake and the Junkrat take care of him in short order. supporter, or Ozark passing the 80% barrier, which means that it is going to be probably, we're in one engagement territory for this game.
We're in last fight territory, and I definitely feel like our Reinhardt for the side of St. John needs to make a swap. Yes, you have Shatter, but you know that's one that charges really fast. The Orissa's the one who can sustain against Crackle on the side of the Ozarks. Swap to a Lucio as well. It's time to say goodbye to one of your supports. That was a change that needed to happen, but we'll see. We've got this last fight occurring. Both teams are fighting it out right now. Ozarks is at 99. Nope, they lost their Symmetra, so we are up 1 for the side of St. John right now. St. John's has managed to take the point, but now they need to sustain. They are in a 5v6. But is that another graphitic flux happening? Yes, on top of a supercharger with the Ana landing asleep and a nade with McCree stun. Ooh, Ana getting super close to that McCree for that greedy 1v1 is a little risky, but it seemed to have worked out in your favor because your team was there to back you up. So now the point is going to convert back over to the side of the Ozarks right here at the 99-second mark. It's in overtime. The Earth Shatter's going to come out to prevent anybody from touching the point, and our first map will go into the favor of the Ozarks.
I gotta say, after that gravitic flux, you saw the Transcendence come out just a little bit too late, as if to prove your point yet again. Well, the Idaho Army National Guard is a proud supporter of Boise State esports. Top plays are presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. With more than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for, the Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Reach out on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. So that has been the first match in this, the first game of tonight. And what is working, what is not working, what needs to change, basically, that you saw in that last match?
All right, so as much as I'm going to call it Turtle, which is that Orisa Reinhardt double shield. It's not double shield as Sigma Orisa that we used to think back 2 years ago in the fall. I'll still call that normal double shield, but when you go Turtle, which is the Rein Orisa comp, Bapsen works great. However, it works better in locations where there is a lot of vertical movement, and so your Zenyatta and Baptiste have the ability to go and utilize high grounds. But if you're all going to be staying on the same level, honestly, if you're running into another Reinhardt, swap out that Zenyatta, get in a Lucio, and just speed boost into the enemy team. Get a Reaper. I'm pretty sure, actually, this team did have a Reaper as well. So get a Reaper, get a Lucio, be with your Reinhardt, and just, you know, go full bore face tank into the enemy team.
And actually pull off the Death Blossom, because I want to see one of those big ones tear into one of these teams. Those teams being the Ozark Tigers and the St. John Vianney Griffins in this Missouri High School Esports Association match. As we move on to Hanamura for this 2CP match, your favorite, Nerdy.
Oh, yes, because this ain't a map. A lot of forward damage and opening up the ability for them to push in. The Maywall's already been messed up, so that's a 6-second or 8-second cooldown right there that they should be using to push forward, because that May is looking to wall them off, and it's that old strategy that Boise State's used. Wall and maul. Do not let that wall go up on cooldown. And unfortunately for the side of the Ozarks, the wall's not going to be enough as they lose their Reinhardt and their Ana, but the Ryan on the side of St. John's is also going to go down, but the Mercy was able to get the res off. Sacrificing herself, though, might not have been the call right there.
Crackle putting a bit of life, though, into Ozark, getting a double followed up by the McCree, and Apex now going up against this May, who's going to throw up the wall and go back to point. Although, though, they hop over the wall and get rid of the May to take the point in a statement. Oh, just when you think you're safe.
Yeah, May walls are great unless you're going against teams that have a Pharah, a Hanzo, Baptiste, or Junk, which are all heroes that have insane verticality ability you got to keep in mind. And the Dragon Strike is already going to come out from Apex as well from St. John. I did not notice this, but Apex was their support. He is now on DPS, and someone else has picked up the DPS role since I guess Apex was like, let me pop it on that Hanzo.
St. John has managed to take the first point with 5 minutes, 30 seconds left on the clock. So we're just going to see how snowbally this map might be, as Ozark has two ultimates, though, to be able to play a little bit of defense here. They have the Deadeye, and they're also going to have the Graviton Surge available from the Zarya.
Yeah, but hear me out. St. John, in order to win that last point, also already used their Dragon Strike. So this first fight they're going into, they're a little bit dry on ult here, so the snowball effect that we were talking about earlier isn't quite as viable. because of the side of the Ozarks having slightly higher ultimate advantage because they did not pop their ultimates to save point one. As we see the Graviton Surge come out, but that Immor is just going to stay out of LOS with the enemy team and manage to stay alive. We do hear Window come out as well, and a McCree Deadeye Fish, thank goodness you're not here, and that might have disappointed you, is going to pick up 2 for the side of the Ozarks.
Oh, this Baptiste, I just feel, because I believe it was Apex and then Cyclone up on that second level. He was trying to get rid of both of them and just managed to get them down to just a couple bars of health, but wasn't able to land that final shot, and then the Flame Strike goes on to him, just driving the point home.
You know, it's okay to try to go kill someone and not kill them, because disruption is also a level of gameplay. It's just, you know, go make their life horrible for what they're trying to do. Make their task impossible to complete. That's all I did as Diva whenever I went against a McCree or a Widowmaker or a Hanzo on high ground. I just went and got in their face for a couple of seconds. That's all I needed to do.
The Junkrat is taken out, does get rezzed, and not a moment too soon because that Riptire is going to be coming online. In fact, just about all the ultimates are going to be available to St. John if they want to try to throw everything they can. The Baptiste just peeking in there to the Reinhardt is going to drop down to ground level, and that might have been the distraction they need, although the Shatter's going to come out. Immortality Field thrown down at just the right moment, and that Reinhardt is taken out as the Dragon Strike also comes out. So both Reinhardts are down for both teams. Amplification Matrix also used by the Baptiste, and the res comes on to Ozark's Reinhardt. There goes a Riptire going right into Crackle. Deadeye is available to the McCree. Not going to use it quite yet, as Ozark, despite all those ultimates used, are going to be able to hold the point. It looks like there goes another elimination onto the Mercy, forcing St. John to reset yet again.
We see Apex swapping off that Hanzo in favor of the Widowmaker, which actually I prefer, because in this case those Hanzo ults were being used more like zoning ultimates, kind of just down the center of the point in order to separate the side of the Ozarks. They weren't really getting a lot of damage, and apparently their target focus is just not what they want, whereas like Apex is now going to be able to just kind of sit behind their entire team and pick off people, as they just did right there onto Cyclone. So unfortunately they're going to be never mind. Hyperion's going to say, sorry Apex, you're going to die too. So now both teams are down 1, but the Mercy managed to get a res off on defense. So St. John's is still going to choose to attack with an Earth Shatter despite being down 1 because their Mercy got a res off.
And there goes the Shatter onto St. John's. Reinhardt not going to be eliminated. Instead, Karn is going to be eliminated for Ozark. And there goes the Graviton Surge as well as a Nano Boost and Dragon Strike. And it is finally going to go through towards St. John, picking up a triple for them. But St. John answers that back with the Widowmaker doing work of her own, taking out, I think that was 3 I saw for St. John. So just clicking on heads there. You see the Junkrat down on point, trying to burst through the Reinhardt shield. Looks like it's finally broken, but the McCree came in just in time to save that Reinhardt. Now the Widowmaker is facing a bit of trouble, might just jump off the side, actually going to be caught by the Reinhardt, and that is another reset for St. John. So now St. John, that had 5 minutes 30 seconds, now has burned through 4 minutes.
I was really surprised that they decided to take that engage. A, they used res, and B, the side of the Ozarks, their Mercy was Valking. So honestly, if they just chilled out, taken a soft engage, tried to get as many ultimates out as they could, and then disengaged and stayed alive, they could have had the opportunity to get an extra fight in here. Instead, now we are narrowing down to 1 fight territory, but St. John's does have the ult advantage here. However, they're in a pretty sticky situation right here as a huge Earth Shatters coming out from the side of the Ozarks, taking out 2 of the members for St. John. And the third's gonna come out on Apex from the McCree out of our line of sight right here. That comes down to ult tracking and just being ready for what the enemy team has for you, and blocking an Earth Shatter if you're another Reinhardt. It hurts if you don't do it. I'm pretty sure the other Ryan knew that was going to happen and just probably claiming ping diff right now.
Now I'm curious if this Deadeye that McCree has might be used as some sort of zoning ultimate, due to the fact that there's only 30 seconds left now for St. John. They do have the Bongo, Valkyrie, and the Application Matrix available to them, as well as a Shatter and a Riptire that will probably come online for them. And it looks like a Venom Mine was quickly taken out by the McCree here. But the first elimination is going to go on to Kate, putting Ozark at the slight disadvantage, and all these ultimates being dropped at once might just be what they need. A Deadeye trying to reverse the tide, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. as the Mercy is managing to stay on and heal up. That Orisa getting down to such low health, but manages to survive, and with 0 seconds left on the clock, St. John managed to take the final point.
Okay, so yes, St. John got both points, but because they have no time remaining, if the side of the Ozarks manage to cap both points with time remaining, then they will be the only ones in round 3 to get a push, and if they get a single tick on point 1, they win. However, if both teams have no time left, then we will go into overtime with both teams have the opportunity to push with 1 minute remaining, and that might be an adrenaline rush comp from who knows which meta. I'm anticipating it'll just be a Maysim rush comp if it comes down to that.
And as you can also see at the bottom, Ozark managed to pick up the first round. You know, they're not in bad position here to get this victory and take them to a match point as they get ready and get their comps. We do see it looks like maybe a bit of a dive comp being brought out by Ozark.
Yeah, but I'm looking at St. John right now, and I'm seeing a Bastion, but I'm seeing a Bastion without a Mei. So there goes some verticality that our Bastion's going to lose, or without a Symmetra. So there is also some movement that a Bastion kind of, at least as far as Boise State goes, historically speaking, uses to help keep our Bastion alive. However, we do see the Mercy Baptiste. So at least that's 1/2 of a Bastion comp that we're very familiar with. So they're going to be going for a more bunker down and sustain because they do have that Junkrat. Apex is probably going to be getting up and moving around just a tiny bit with the Mercy pocket happening. They just need to be really careful because the side of the Ozarks does have that Genji and a Monkey, and if they close that distance too quickly on that Bastion, they're going to be annihilated.
And there goes that Genji off to the right, but is found out by that Bastion, who the Reinhardt and the Junkrat are just going to sit right in front of their,
That's all you do. I mean, like, you lose your shield, you become a human meat shield. Why not?
Yeah, why not? And I see the Bastion still putting a lot of damage onto Ozark, but no eliminations quite yet. And in fact, Ozark with the Reaper is going to manage to tick off that Junkrat. But now the Bastion manages to take out Cake and is just plowing onto this point, taking out the Monkey as well. Crackle managed to get rid of the Mercy, and Hyperion evening things up by taking out the Reinhardt. But this Bastion is just going to do what the Bastion does best and just keep on holding down the left mouse button.
Yeah, I mean, like, if there's nothing better to do, just, and we see the Bastion come out. Oh, and you got shattered. That's always painful. Sorry, Reinhardt.
Oh, man.
Oh, but Apex just got super low with this Monkey diving down onto them. However, I guess your Reaper popping in distracted Monkey enough. Monkey, just a heads up, Reaper and Monkey don't mix. They don't. Like, yes, Reaper does not delete Monkey anymore, but they still don't mix if there's a Bastion behind that Reaper.
And a Shatter doesn't work if you're doing it right into the the barrel of a tank.
Perhaps.
Well, Ozark is going to have to reset again, and they are managing to... St. John is managing to hold them for a longer amount of time, which is good. And there goes the Amplification Matrix. That's going to be so much damage. Immortality Field is quickly deleted, and Crackle is taken out by Apex as well. And that is a door you do not want to be walking out of right there, as so much damage was pushed through with that Bastion, who is going to have the tank available yet again, so might just decide to go tank happy and do what he did last time.
Okay, so I'm now examining St. John's composition right now and trying to think of a way for the Ozarks to go about, you know, swapping things up to fix it. Granted, yes, they're waiting on Hyperion's Nano Blade, and if that doesn't work, I really hope we see a Pharah comp swap, because Pharah can help take out a Bastion quite easily.
Well, Primal Rage and an Amplification Matrix going to be used by Ozark. Managed to pick up 2, and the Reaper tried to get away there, but wasn't able to escape this Bastion. And my goodness, it is just being relentless here. And that Reinhardt, you're not going to be able to stand. You're just going to have to wait for your team to get back and group up again, because this Bastion.
All right, so now we've got the Sigma coming out for the side of the Ozark. So in rotating that Sigma shield with his Tornado ability and the Reinhardt shield, it should give their team enough ability to rotate to the left side out of LOS underneath that Bastion. Please stop going to the right, because you're just giving him full field of view of yourself.
There we go again.
Okay.
I mean, you know what it said of doing the same thing. I know it's cliche, but there goes a Death Blossom trying
It's gonna
to
pick up the Mercy,
go
though.
around. It did get rid of the Mercy, and the tank is hopped as well, going right into the face of that Reaper as revenge, but it is not going to be enough. They have
Genji Blade,
finally
Genji Blade, do the blade.
unseated the Bastion, and
Oh,
Genji
no.
Blade might be available. Nano Blade isn't going to be available because that Riptire went right into them. His Amplification Matrix was also used by St. John, who might manage to still hold on to this point as Bastion is swapped off of. Now a Tracer is available. There goes the Shatter right into the front line of Ozark, and there goes Hyperion. Crackle manages to answer that Shatter back by getting rid of St. John's Reinhardt. Apex now coming in, getting rid of the Junkrat. Both teams taking a lot of damage. Mr. Tux, especially low on health, gets hit with the nade. The res comes onto the Junkrat as Cyclone and Crackle manage to get a bit of an advantage onto Ozark with 0 time left on the clock. They have finally managed to unseat St. John and are now going to try to get to that second point.
All right, Ozark, I just noticed something that y'all should not be letting happen, and that is the Mercy in Valkyrie you are just ignoring. Both teams are actually doing this. You can kill a Valkyrie Mercy. It's totally capable. Well, you're completely capable of doing so. Even if you don't, just shoot at her so she's not just free-floating wherever the heck she so chooses to be. She's literally like a fly on the wall to you if she's from the enemy team. You know, swat at her a little bit.
And there goes a few of those Junkrat lobs, just trying to maybe randomly get some sort of wayward member of Ozark as they push up the hallway here. The shields go up as well as the Immortality Field. It's going to cause Ozark to just go to the left just a little bit until that wears out. And now we do see Gravitic Flux and the Nano Boost available to Ozark. We also see a Bongo available to St. John as that Flux is going to be used to slam down some members of St. John. And the Baptiste is unseated as well as the Reinhardt. As Hyperion gets the double, and that is going to set the dominoes falling for Ozark as they push through to the second point. Now St. John has to try to rush back before time runs out, and there goes Apex onto the point, trying to stop that third tick, and now comes on another member of St. John to stop that as the ultimates come out, trying to keep that third tick from going on. St. John gets 3 eliminations onto Ozark. Ozark is just hanging on, but it is not going to be enough, and Hyperion is the only one left on that point. With that, Genji Blade is trying to answer back for Ozark and does manage to pick up a few eliminations, which means Ozark's chances might not be gone as the Reinhardt is taken out, and Cyclone is answered back, and the Shatter as well from Crackle, it looked like, is going to come out. Both of these teams are fighting so fiercely to try to keep that third tick, that little sliver of blue, from coming through.
Right now, we are at the 1 minute mark for the side of the Ozark, so this is basically last fight territory if they're looking to have the opportunity to win and not draw this out equally for both sides. So they've got to... They've swapped to the Lucio. They did the thing I've been asking for. Now it's time to just run it down mid. No team really has any ultimates except for that Tracer Pulse Bomb. However, that's going to be a little bit of an issue if it gets stuck on the Mercy for the side of the Ozarks. So they need to be careful about that.
There's a Flame Strike through the center route there. The Tracer Bomb is available as the only ultimate online, but in terms of Ozark, they're going to have Gravitic Flux. That's really the only thing.
I know, but Gravitic Flux can be enough to pull them off the point and cap it if they use it the last possible second for that last tiny sliver of the blue. It's a Sigma 9. It happens. We see a Pulse Bomb, however, come out, and it's going to land on the Lucio, and Tracer's trying to keep this Mercy busy. They're down to the 6-second mark, and I don't think the Ozarks are going to be able to instigate overtime as Apex is just going through the backline and destroying people. It is... I know Tracer's very squishy, but they do a lot of damage if they can get a whole clip into you. You got to turn around and at least throw a bomb in that Tracer's face next time.
Well, it started out with a Mad Bastion and is now let St. John tie it up 1-1, which means means we are at least going to see 4 games tonight. And you also, if you like what you see here, are not going to want to miss the beatdown at Boise State, which will be held throughout February and broadcast live. You can join Boise State's premier fighting game event in Street Fighter V, Tekken 7, Dragon Ball FighterZ, or Super Smash Bros. Ultimate to test your skill against the Idaho fighting game community. Open brackets will be held online with in-person finals held at Boise State University. You can register at smash.gd/tournament. I was reading the URL and it went off the prompter, but you can look on to Boise State Esports to find out all the information you need about upcoming events. So as we go on to the next match, we are going to be going on into Game 3, which is not going to be match point. Both teams finding themselves tied. So overall, what do you think kind of shifted in favor of St. John in that second game?
Honestly, I feel like it was the DPS difference. And unfortunately for Ozark, as we mentioned, there is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and anticipating a different result. And I totally understand in the heat of the moment that pathing to the right side, especially on that choke, yes, that choke point in Hanamura, everybody paths to the right. But just taking a second, staying at the choke, staying out of LOS of the damage, giving your brain a moment to get a little bit of clarity, I'm pretty sure that team, the side of the Ozarks, would have realized that they could have pathed underneath the Bastion and gone behind him and taken him out, or at least forced him out of his little perch area to give them a little bit of extra time on that first point, which could have turned into an extra fight on that last point for them, which of course could have resulted in that final tick. That's just something you got to keep in mind, and that comes with practice in the game.
You are watching the Missouri High School Esports Association Overwatch Ozark Tigers taking on St. John Griffins. And it is managing to be a very fierce match as both teams have tied it up 1 apiece. We are going to be going into the next map, which is going to be Eichenwald, which is a map you talk a lot about, Nerdy, in wanting to show up, but it doesn't show up that often.
Yeah, I like Eichenwald because as someone who thoroughly enjoys playing Mercy, I know not everybody likes playing Mercy, but I do. I love running Far comps or Angry Bird comps or even Ooga Booga comp on this map or Clockwork because of the amount of the height of the skybox on defense and also the amount of poke damage you can get working around that center tower because of the amount of coverage it can give you on defense.
And a sneaky Symmetra teleport is going to go right over the roof and catch Ozark off guard as they charge right to the point. The Maywall's going to go up too, and Apex is taken out, and that it might just stop their ambitions to take this point here. As Mr. Tuck's also eliminated, Cake is also eliminated from Ozark, but this May is fighting fiercely on the point, taking out Cyclone. McCree answers that back by taking out Jaretta, and the Symmetra answering that back and forth eliminations. But now Ozark managed to get just enough to stop that push, but you gotta hand it to them for creativity.
Yeah, that's a push that we ourselves here at Boise State have done before. However, it only works if everybody rotates and focuses the same target that May is freezing, which unfortunately for that May did not happen near the end. So they have to swap off and try again. However, they got 1 tick, and that makes the whole push worth it. 1 tick is a lot, especially when, you know, if you don't get any, it's kind of sudden death on round 2.
And now as we head into this round 2, the Maywall is going to come up trying to split off some members of Ozark as the freezing goes on to the Reinhardt. And Hyperion, get eliminated, might have walked off the side, I'm not sure. But the McCree is also going to be eliminated. That's all the DPS for Ozark taken out. But this Mercy is going to use that Valkyrie and manage to res Hyperion. And he also manages to get rid of Mr. Tux as well. Now the May is fighting back by getting rid of Cyclone. But this Mercy, like you're saying, they're giving such value to this Mercy on the Valkyrie that she's just going to fly around and just do her thing.
Yeah, that Mercy also is utilizing a very essential Mercy tech, which is using that super jump to get a third-person perspective as frequently as they can and get out of these fights. However, sometimes this Mercy is also kind of slingshotting themselves into more lines of fire, so keeping track of when Mercy's using that Guardian Angel to get away. Though it does have a 2-second cooldown, if she's over-jumping, you can use that as an opportunity to take her out. It's something to keep in mind there for both teams.
We do see a swap onto the Ash for St. John. And I do, I just, having a gamer tag that has the word barbecue in it with an ash just seems so fitting. I'm not gonna lie.
I do love me some barbecue myself, so relatable. Though I don't have food in my gamer tag. It's just Nerdy Bird.
Well, the only thing Ozark is hungering after is that point, and they are going to have 4 ultimates that they can try to use. Coalescence is going to be used by St. John, and the mine thrown out there, as well as the whip tire right on point, is going to go into Cyclone.
Yes.
And that just might be enough. It is going to be enough for Ozark. If this Mercy and Ryan have anything to say about it, the Mercy reses the soldier, and yet again, as it looks like St. John might have managed to take the point, some great work and recovery there by that Mercy is going to allow Ozark to keep them from getting it.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought Ozark had that. They got it a little bit further. They almost got that second tick. However, they have swapped the May in favor for that Echo. So I'm hoping to see a copy come out quickly. But we see Reinhardt and McCree make quick work of the Rhine and the Moira for the other team, as well as the Junkrat and the Mercy. So Ozark is now up 4 right now. And I don't believe St. John's going to be able to sustain that push.
You got 10 seconds to charge to the point as fast as you can, but they're still waiting for those respawns to come through. It might just be too little too late as Reinhardt goes charging and trying to get to that point, and one of them did manage to make it to the point. Yes, someone did touch it, and now the rest of the members of St. John are going to fight one more time, but with both DPSs of Ozark laying into St. John. One elimination after the other, as well as the retire that might give them a second win, though. But this Mercy is still using her Valkyrie and is not being taken out, and another res comes up, and it is the story of the Valkyrie Mercy, who cannot be taken out, who's just gonna fly above the point and then come in at the last moment with the res.
Okay, so for the side of St. John there, they had about half their team spawning as the other half was still dying on point. When that is happening and you're in that 10-second territory, if you are a support, you need to make the Lucio or slash Moira swap. If you are a tank, you need to be swapping over to Monkey Devo, preferably Wrecking Ball if you're the first tank down. And then if you're a DPS, you need to be making that swap over the Tracer. You have to get ready for that touch, to be ready to rotate those touches and drag out that overtime until your team gets full spawn. Yes, it's going to completely change over your win condition, but playing to live and stay alive is your win condition at that point.
Well, I know you're going to be happy to see Eichenwald used. Unfortunately, it's just going to be the first point part of it, because that's really all Ozark needs to be able to win this, as St. John only managed to get 1 tick, and they are going back to that Bastion. Which worked out well for them on Hanamura.
Yes, but this is a different Bastion, because Apex once again has swapped over to the support.
Oh, it is a different Bastion, that's true.
And it was the this Bastion was Baptiste on Hanamura, so their playstyle might be a little bit different, and I think that's partially intentional so that they can kind of keep the enemy team on their toes. It's a little bit of a quote-unquote boomerang play. I personally love doing that as someone who plays multiple roles in a game. It definitely forces the enemy team to rethink how they're going to attack you, because they think it's the same comp, but it's not, because the way that you play around each other changes based off who's playing which hero.
And now Ozark is going to round this first corner and realize they are going to have so much damage put onto them, as Hyperion took so much damage there. That was a bit shaky there. Gets healed up. And now they're going to rotate here through buildings, trying to take an alternate route with a little bit more cover there. Bastion keeps laying on a bunch of damage onto Hyperion, who almost was eliminated again. Certainly the Bastion has them in his mind, but it's gonna get pinned right there. Still manages to survive. The only thing taken out is that immortality field. No eliminations coming through for the Bastion, as the amplification matrix is also going to be dropped by the Baptiste. And Mr. Tux and the Soldier take out 2 members, but not before Ozark can come back with 4 of their own. And Mr. Tux trying to keep it alive for them. That's not going to quite be enough, as Ozark finds themselves at a good advantage here. Apex trying to survive here and keep this Orisa alive. It's the only thing standing between Ozark and taking the point.
I'm sorry, I'm just watching this Baptiste try to use his vertical jump movement to stay alive. It just wasn't quite enough, because we do see how the Mercy for the side of the Ozarks actually managed to take out that Soldier, going a little bit of battle Mercy, not even healing anymore, taking out the Zenyatta as well. So I guess, yes, I said swat at that Mercy a little bit, but I guess don't forget Mercies will swat back.
Well, that is it for the round 3 in what turned out to be half of Eichenwald, but a good match nonetheless as and it is going to be going to the next game as it is best of 5, so still to be considered the actual winner. So Ozark still has a little bit left to go before. But what do you think can ultimately kind of clinch victory for them if they're looking to win here in this next game?
If they're honestly, just stick with what they've been doing. If they're looking, well, oh wait, I apologize. Yes.
If they're winning, stick with what they're doing?
Yes. However, I feel like there is a heavy reliance on, well, actually both teams have a heavy reliance on kind of a set comp for both of them. We don't see a lot of hero swaps coming out unless it's very last minute. There isn't a lot of coordination on that. Knowing when you need to swap is really important, and when your comp, even though it's supposed to be quote unquote viable into the enemy team's comp that you're going into, if you're just not getting value, which in a lot of cases we are seeing because it's taking 2, almost 3 fights for some ultimates that normally take about 1.5 fights to get an ultimate up to charge, it is time to swap, change things up, pull in that Lucio, get rid of the Zenyatta, get more damage out, start calling more things. Yes, I know it'll make the comms a little louder for people, but you gotta call those targets, call those cooldowns, and make sure you're focusing the same people.
I know Boise State's team isn't afraid of loud comms, so don't.
Yeah, I feel like that comment's directed right at me in particular.
No, not at all, nerdy, not at all. We share responsibility here in this program. This program, which covers so many games like Overwatch, League of Legends, Rocket League, and production. You can go to boisestate.edu/esports for more information, because we are always looking for new talent, not only in these games, but as you saw by that special fighting game tournament event, you never know what is going to be around the corner and what games we might be offering for special events. So keep up to date with Boise State Esports for all of that information. As we head on into this next game, which should be, if I'm not mistaken, it's the only mode remaining, which should be payload.
Yeah, so that means we're going to have either Dorado, Junkertown. Oh, sorry.
Well, we will find out what map is used very soon in this next match of a Missouri High School Esports Association game. The Ozark Tigers versus the St. John Griffins. And Tigers find themselves at a slight advantage, only needing one more, and it's actually going to be Havana that we're low.
Okay, so we saw some of these teams pull out some snipers, especially Apex, if Apex is going to be back on the... Yep, Apex is back on the DPS, on that Widowmaker. I do believe that the side of St. John is pushing first, yes. So... it's going to be a little interesting to see if Apex can get value here. We don't see Hyperion on the Widow. They are on the Hanzo, so they're going for more of that shield burst damage, more spammy comp coming out from the side of the Ozarks here on defense. So if the Widow plays their positions right and their line of sights right, they should be able to get some easy picks here. They just need to be careful, and then once they get to that corner where this Sigma is right here, Widow can go take that high ground and just pick off the back line.
Apex does manage to get the first pick as Nerdy just kind of gives a gesture of "I told you so."
Yeah, I mean, you need to respect the heroes and comps that the enemy team is capable of pulling out. If you know they have a Widow, being on high ground with no shield because both your tanks were down here, trying to get an early pick as Hanzo might not be the best idea because it also puts you in line of sight of the enemy Widow. Because we do see that both the Ana and the Hanzo did get picked quite early, and now Widow has free reign of this high ground here at the corner.
Now Crackle taking a bit of damage below 100 health and is going to be eliminated by Barbecue. Mr. Tux also taking out the Orisa, which is going to mean that they get to checkpoint number 1 with a lot of time left. That Reinhardt goes charging out of the Rum Factory, and now the gates start to open. 5 minutes, 20 seconds on the clock to get to this next checkpoint.
Okay, so for the side of St. John right now, honestly, I want to see them swap off this turtle meta and go with double bubble. For the side of Ozark, I would like to see double bubble or swap out their Orisa in favor of a Zarya to get them a little bit more frontline damage to take more attention. to allow for their Hanzo to pop off just a tiny bit more, because he is landing shots. He just needs a little bit extra support from his Mercy in order to stay alive, because positioning is difficult when you're playing against a Widowmaker who is getting shots on your head, as Apex is able to take out Hyperion right there.
Gravitic Flux is going to be available. It is the supercharger that is used as Kate does the res onto Hyperion. Infrared sight popped, as well as the amplification matrix, but a nade goes right on to Reinhardt there, taking him out. Immortality field put down for St. John. There goes the Flux, and that Widowmaker trying to peek around is going to be punished severely by that Hanzo. Ozark managing to keep the defense going, so no real changes going thus far. The Dragon Strike is thrown out at the last moment. It doesn't look like it's really going to pick up anybody, as Crackle is going to give a final punch onto the Soldier, and now they're just staggering out St. John. So unless they only really swap here, I don't know if we're going to be seeing that double bubble that you were talking about. The only bubbles here is from the rum as it distills.
Yeah, I mean, for the side of Ozark right now, their comp, at least if they can maintain this mid-high ground advantage right here and prevent Apex from getting easy picks, as we do see our McCree right now trying to take care of that Widowmaker's landmine, or at least wait for her to pop out and take care of her head. He does have Deadeye with a Mercy boost, so that means it'll at least go off quicker than it would be by himself. Double bubble won't work as well in here, but if we go outside, I definitely want to see the Ozark swap over to double bubble.
Well, we also have the opportunity for a Deadeye to make all the difference, as it so usually does here.
Maybe not. It picks up. Now use it. Now use it. Graphitic Flux and Deadeye is huge. Never mind. Don't use it. You can't hear me anyway. I forgive you.
Well, now here comes the Deadeye. Is it going to pick up? It does manage to pick up one. And Ozark takes out the Zenyatta, as well as Apex, Mr. Tux, and the Soldier there as well. Hyperion is managing to stay alive as that Reinhardt tries to swing into him. Not going to make it to that second checkpoint. And there goes the res onto Crackle as well. So managing to hold the defense there for just a little longer, ticking off a little bit more off that clock.
All right, so St. John has swapped over in favor of that Junkrat instead of the Widowmaker to try and get more frontline damage going out. They're just basically going to be playing to survive and play off of Discords right now while they wait for cooldowns, such as both the barriers to be used up for the side of the Ozarks. But the Orisa's going to pop the Supercharger along with another Dragon's coming out. Doesn't look like it's going to pick up too many people, but the separation play is what they were going for right there, and it's going to allow the side of the Ozarks to pick up the Zenyatta, the Orisa, and the Reinhardt, leaving just this Junkrat here and the McCree to try and, well, the Soldier to run away.
Running away to try to fight another day as they wait for the respawn to come onto that Reinhardt. As it does, they now drop under the 2-minute mark, but with 2 ultimates to their name. Closest thing Ozark has is gonna be at Gravitic Flux and a Deadeye, but that is only managing to get on to 70% as the Orb of Discord is put onto the McCree there. And now Soldier is going to be taken out very quickly by that McCree, putting St. John at the early disadvantage as they try to push through.
And the Shatter Block coming out from the Orisa shield, plus the Anti from the Ana is going to make those tanks both very squishy. So here Hyperion is going to manage to take out the Orisa, the McCree is going to take out the Immortality field as the Graphitic Flux comes out, but it doesn't look like that'll pick up anybody. However, the rest of the Ozarks will manage to pick up this side of St. John.
All right, 1 minute left. 1 minute warning left to try to get to the second checkpoint, or else Ozark is going to put themselves in a pretty nice position, only having to not even make it to the second checkpoint, but only getting, you know, almost halfway.
Hey, I totally understand it doesn't seem like it's that far to push, but if Apex stays on that Widowmaker on defense, that's going to be a hard defense to get through for the side of the Ozarks, and they did not deal with her very well at the beginning.
Both teams having just about even ultimates available to them, with 2 ultimates for 1 ultimate for each team coming online shortly. Both of them now online, and the mine is going to be used by that Junkrat to take out Hyperion before it can use that Dragon Strike, and the Visor is also used by the Soldier, and the Valkyrie is used by a Cakeman. Now gonna have to see how much mileage they can get out of that Valkyrie. The orb is placed on the Mercy, so they're somewhat they know of her presence. And now Hyperion with that Dragon Strike, getting rid of Soldier, and High Noon Oh, is it? No!
Oh, the
Immortality.
immortality.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, high noon. Trying to pull off a high noon by yourself into an import does not always work out, but we've got contesting happening, plus a Sigma Graphitic Flux occurring, but the Orisa managed to use Fortify just in time to stay down, followed up with the Reinhardt Shatter coming out from St. John, is going to clear the point enough for them to have 90 seconds to push to point 3.
Oh, do they pull off the stagger? We did see that Ana there. Are they gonna? Yeah, she does get some damage placed on, but
Ana
manages to just escape.
Oh, Ana, that was so risky. Oh, Ana.
Still running away, took a bit more damage. Up the stairs is now gonna be able, and we do see a swap coming through with the Zarya being brought on board.
Okay, but then they swapped over to a normal Reinhardt. Oh, all right. I was more in favor of double bubble or Sig Zarya, but if you want a Rein Zarya into a Rein Orisa, that's totally fine by me. You just, you don't have a lot of forward damage from your DPS, so you're just kind of playing meat shield right now, you two tanks, and I am very sorry for that.
Now Crackle trying to put some damage onto that Reinhardt, which definitely now the Hanzo peeks around. McCree taking out the Zenyatta, putting St. John at a slight disadvantage as they go past this choke point. And now the McCree again onto the Orisa, and it's just going to keep tumbling from there as 3 more eliminations. Now 4 come through for Ozark, 1 coming through for Apex on to the Mercy, but now Crackle answers that back. And now only 10 seconds is left for St. John.
10 seconds, and they did make the Lucio swap. I think he might have the opportunity to touch, or the Soldier will. Yes, Soldier got in with the Reinhardt charge following up, is going to take out that poor Soldier though. So we are in a 5v6 with a Hanzo going across the payload, taking out one of the McCrees. So now St. John has signs of life. They need to play slow right here. They're down a few of their players, but unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be able to survive long enough.
Certainly hopping around on the payload, but that hopping is going to be stopped right there. And now just the charge into that Soldier. That is a clean end right there for St. John's push.
All right, so as we discussed earlier, they don't have to go all the way right here. However, Apex's Widowmaker has proven very, very deadly. So as we go into this next part, if Apex is set up in the right position and is able to utilize her hook to move to the right locations without getting caught out too much, and gets enough support and peel, the opportunity for the side of St. John to completely hold Ozark in just that straightaway at the beginning is very high. Because I have not seen a lot of dive heroes coming out from the side of the Ozarks. Oh, we see,
as soon as you say that,
we see a monkey. All right, so we got Diva Monkey to go deal with the Widowmaker. But Apex is going to be like, no, we're going to go with Ashe. And Ashe has a little bit more survivability than a Widowmaker, and they don't need to be Mercy boosted nearly as often. Yes, a boosted Ashe is always fun. You get that dynamite, it gets you a lot of nice juicy charge for both of you, but you're not as squishy as a Widowmaker when you play Ashe, especially because you have that coach gun, which not only does damage to the people by you, but gives you a lot of ability to move both vertically and horizontally depending on how you shoot it. Apex might be a force to reckon with here if that Diva is not doing a good job of taking dynamites and just disrupting her play.
And I also wonder how this dive is going to do in terms of space confinements with all these buildings around.
I mean, it is a viable comp as I say that. Unfortunately, Winston's going to go down, but you need to be utilizing natural cover. And unfortunately, I think for that Winston, he did not make it completely with his monkey jump. He needed to have walked a little bit further before he used his jump to get in and get into cover over there on that balcony. So that unfortunately is going to leave the side of the Ozarks without their main tank on this initial push into Apex's Ashe that is already destroying with almost 80% charge on their Bob. Unfortunately, sacrificing your Mercy to stay alive is never a great play, but Mercies will do that for their DPS players. So it's okay, as we do see 2 from the side of the Ozarks go down, and I think that's going to be a partial push, but Bob's going to come out and stall the payload anyway, so that's going to buy enough time for the side of St. John to regroup.
Not if he's going to be just charged into the wall and the shield is held up. Just kind of run out the clock there for that ultimate there. And now they have about 4 members on the payload, now 3. as the Junkrat takes out Barbecue, and Hyperion now takes out Mercy as well. St. John find themselves at a 3-person disadvantage. Found themselves at a 3-person disadvantage now too, as Mr. Tux is taken out. The D.Va mech is eliminated, putting Pilot D.Va out on the field, taking a bit of damage there, but still staying at half health, so might just be able to charge that back up and get back in that mech.
I was hoping we'd see a last-minute recontest from one of the tanks to allow Apex to get Bob here and then contest the payload with Bob followed up by the Junk Tire, but that's okay. They're going to go for a close hold here and just try to pick up these staggers. However, they need to do this very quickly because the spawn door has now rotated right up to the right. We can kind of see a little outline of one of the blue players on the other side right there. That is the new spawn for the attacking team, so being this close while that door is still open for the side of defense is not always the smart idea when you play a linear comp like this, because if their Orisa goes down, the opportunity for them to get run onto by the side of the Ozarks with a Lucio is very high.
And there goes that D.Va bomb right over the amplification matrix, is only going to take out the immortality field. And Mr. Tux getting the elimination onto the D.Va mech. Bob is out on the field, manages to take out the Pilot D.Va there, as Apex is eliminated, quickly rezzed by the Mercy, putting Ozark at the slight disadvantage. They're going to have to reset here. A bit of a dynamite thrown out there, and just some trying to poke out here, get through some damage as the Reinhardt, and now the D.Va goes charging through.
Looking at the side of the Ozarks right now, they've almost got that sound barrier ready to go, and since Supercharge has already been popped, honestly, if they... Never mind, I was going to say use it to be aggressive, but then that Reinhardt just got a massive shatter on the back line. We've got Mercy Valking right now to try and keep the Ozarks alive. They're picking up a lot of the team members on the side of St. John's, and they're getting a lot of free payload space. But remember, 3 people is all you need on the payload, because after that, it does not move any faster. Actually, since you have Lucio, stick him on the payload and let the rest of your team push up. You did not get large staggers onto the side of St. John's right now, so you need to be putting up, keeping your space that you have and making sure you're blocking the doors, because all 6 members are going to be there right now.
And those members start going right through those doors there as Apex goes through with the Ash. Got a little bit of attention placed on. It's now going to go back toward the team. There goes another shatter, and a Riptire is going to go into 2 members of St. John, allowing Ozark to push through to the second checkpoint. Still being contested by Apex, who is going to use that Bob. Unfortunately, that's going to be a bit of a wasted ultimate there.
I feel like that Bob and the last Bob are a little bit wasted. Hopefully the Bob doesn't go flying off the map the next time Apex uses it, because now we are in open area territory. But as I said, that Apex is going to swap over to the Widowmaker. I bet we'll probably see them either A, right behind their tanks, or B, in that little upper left area, trying to get some sneaky headshots coming out. Yep, there they are, the Widowmakers in the upper left area. D.Va's going to try to go deal with them. However, D.Va's got to wait 6 seconds because her boosters can't make it all the way from spawn to that spot.
Now almost all the members of Ozark are around this payload. 5 members on there at one time. Amplification Matrix, gets placed down on the field. A Riptire available as Hyperion is picked off by the Junkrat, and here comes the Riptire. We're going to want to look out for that on the right. Taking a lot of damage, is down, and I just rolled off into the sunset.
You know, I'm going to say that was a zoning ultimate, because they are trying to kill a decent amount of time right now, at least if you're on the defending team. It doesn't always matter if you get kills. If you push back the team or make them scared, it can be more than enough. You can displace them a little bit. As we do see, Apex is going to be able to pick up 1 from the Ozarks there. Junkrat, no one is dealing with Apex over here except for this D.Va, and D.Va's going to get de-mech'd while there's a Baptiste and a Widow on them. So, good night, D.Va. I apologize. Maybe you should get a Genji to go up there with you.
Maybe. Just gonna have to wait to respawn first. Does have the D.Va bomb available, but you don't want to hold on to an ultimate if it means the wrong counter.
Yes, and as someone who loves to play D.Va, I can tell you that especially in this area, because of how much natural coverage there is and the amount of shield coverage coming out for the side of St. John's, landing a self-destruct that'll do a whole lot is not going to be very easy, as we see that one kind of just act as a means to wear down some shields. The Mercy Valk's going to come out, followed by both the Riptire and the Attack Visor coming out for the side of the Ozarks. Right now it's going to take out the Mercy and the Orisa. The Reinhardt charge here from Krekel, the secondary countercharge is going to take out the Reinhardt. Baptiste is going to drop down just a little bit too late. Apex has swapped over to Tracer in hopes of touching the payload. They've used up 2 of their blinks. There's their last blink. So that means they've only got recall and retouch. That's their only opportunity to do much here, but they're going to get off the payload anyway, and that's going to be a 3rd victory for the Ozarks.
You gotta love that battle of the Reinhardts there. In terms of the overall battle, that is going to be Ozark getting their 3rd win and being declared the winner for this match. So that's going to be a great start back up for the season after that week-long break that we had, putting a bit of momentum into their step. But the Griffins put up a great fight of their own, managing to keep this from being a swept match. And that's a great start to the night. But we have more because we have 2 matches to bring you tonight. So we are going to be taking a short break in between those matches, I believe, and then coming right back to you to bring you more action from the Missouri High School Esports Association.
Legendary parts for legendary wins.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Barely go down as Asu swapped over to the Moira. You get a rally out from Wild as well. A nice anti-on to Rezo, but he's going to be able to be healed as he survives. And Boise State once again getting incredibly close as they'll trade kills there. Ace picks up another one onto Wild. And Boise State actually might pick this one up. And they will.
There it is, absolutely.
Push down the 2nd point rather quickly. Right now just waiting on the payload as the Ant Matrix is going to come out from Frenrir. He's also going to be forced to Immortality Field. Boise State deals with that quickly, and Asu's going to throw down one of his own. Plato with Death Blossom. He's going to throw it down right away. Takes down Ecal. Guac's going to take down Wild as well. Frenrir gets a consolation. In the ult from Goblin, we see a one-man chatter onto Ecal as well. Goblin not able to find anything, but now he's going to go turret form Trying Mo barely lives 17 HP. Play was able to win the battle of the Reapers, and now Goblin, while they're distracted, a window comes down from Fenrir, but that's not going to heal any of the damage coming out onto your team. It's a team kill for Boise State. Going to be used on the back line, should land onto 3 as he'll sneak around the corner. Immortality Field comes out perfectly from Wild. Going to see a Transcendence from Fenrir as well. Nano is going to land on Rezo. There's the Nano Blade. Boise State won it. They're able to pick up 1 and a Supercharger, make it 2. Kel punches him down. Minefield gets the last one. That's what Boise State was waiting for. Now started pushing that second
I don't know.
point.
I think Rezo has a shot here to kill him immediately after the res again.
There's the Dragon Strike. He's right now dueling Oompa Loompa. He'll win that one, and he gets a Dragon Strike off screen. Thank you.
Welcome back to tonight's broadcast, Boise State Esports, covering Missouri High School Esports Association Overwatch season. We are back after a week-long break due to weather conditions, and joining me back in the arena is Artie Nerdy Rain to bring you all of this Overwatch action. We are back, we are established, and we have seen a great match tonight thus far. Still going with, just saw the match between the Tigers and the Griffins. The Tigers pulling out the advantage, Ozark versus St. John. And now we move on to the second match. And this match doesn't just have just the fact that we're getting back into the groove, but over the time that we took the break, a balance patch was put in, if I'm not mistaken. And just what are some of the changes that we've been seeing from that?
Well, the biggest change, as I'm sure a lot of people realize, is that now we are running Orisa Reinhardt a lot, even though for the longest time running 2 very, quote, stationary tanks is not typically the play. Orisa's Fortify now mitigates headshot damage. So on top of being able to move faster, not being able to be booped around, you don't take headshot damage, you are almost impossible to kill so long as you have a support, like, you know, either sending darts into your back or a Mercy Beam on you or a Baptiste healing AoE. It is so difficult to take care of an Orisa if you do not have a lot of focus.
Well, the next match is going to be Notre Dame High School versus Wellington-Napolion. Now, Wellington-Napolion, I believe we have seen them before, but I don't believe I've seen a match from Notre Dame yet.
We have not, and I am very excited to see this. Notre Dame is also an all-females high school, so this will be an all-girls team going into this other team that we are very familiar with. And since it's going to be our first time seeing them, I am probably going to be paying a little bit more attention to how they play so I can understand kind of what comps and how comfortable they are on what heroes they're playing. And I'm really excited just to see a whole new team for us this evening.
Well, even though they are starting out, they are one of 14 schools in this 8-week season. All teams are going to be seeded in the playoffs, and there are going to be 4 weeks of playoffs. You can take a look at the standings right now, and this is after week 1, so still a lot of season left to be played. As we take a look at Wellnap, they are 1-0, and Notre Dame is 0-1. But you got to take each match as it comes and focus only on the match you're playing right now and not what's gotten you to the season. So
I agree with that, and especially because of this balance patch that just happened. If maybe you had an Orisa main tank sleeper on your team that hadn't had their opportunity to shine just yet, since the double shield meta had kind of gone away in favor more of the Ooga Booga and double bubble comps for a little bit. Now those teams that had those Orisa sleepers have the opportunity to bring them more into the forefront and have them establish their ability to play the horse and be in horse drill for a little bit. I'm sorry if you don't like to play Orisa, but you're good at Orisa. There's a lot of people in that same boat. So this opens up a lot of opportunity for any team to really demonstrate their prowess.
Well, good luck to both of the teams, and before you play, here are Doc's keys to the game to keep in mind. It is going to be understand your comp and play style, focus on each fight, make sure you get that pre-fight target priority, and commit together. Brought to you by Count Identity Trust Global Network, delivering real-time fraud protection, account protection, and enabling personalized customer experience for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Quick and Identity Trust decisions deliver safe payment, account creation, and login events while reducing digital fraud, chargebacks, false positives, and manual reviews. Count.com.
All right, so I'm looking at Wellington's comp right now. We see we've got Big Gab on the Doomfist, and we also got an Echo. We've got Brigitte and an Ana. So that means Brig's going to be fighting on point most likely with the tanks, while Ana's going to be taking an off angle. For the side of Wellington, they've kind of got a half Ooga Booga comp going on. They've got that Sombra ready to do some hacks along with a D.Va. However, they're going to lose both of their supports right here out of the gate. So that's going to leave Notre Dame with the opportunity to take the point since they are up with their entire team right now. Yeah, okay, I apologize. So Notre Dame's on the left of blue. They're the ones going in favor of the Rein Zarya with the Echo and the Doomfist. Well, we've got Wellington going with Orisa D.Va, which is not a comp I'm super familiar with, and a Sombra and a Junkrat. So they're playing for hacks to then speed boost, amp boost into the team of Wellington. Well, Wellington's playing for hacks to then speed into the enemy, but that also means they need to play open space, and that's a little bit difficult to get right here where Notre Dame's keeping them into this little alcove right here.
And that is going to be quite a nade thrown on to Wellnap, and the Doomfist is just going to use that to get 2 eliminations, and now Short Stack gets 2 eliminations of her own, bringing Notre Dame to a great advantage, bringing them to 40%. A hack is going to go on to Short Stack there, and that's going to allow Wellnap actually. So just another team switch going on. So Notre Dame is the one attacking. Excuse me.
Okay. So we were correct the first time. All right, that's good. Now we are hitting the 60% mark. It sounds like the side of Notre Dame had one of their DPS on point, but unfortunately that Junkrat's going to go down to the Zarya. Right now we've got the tank line and the Echo pushing up here at the corner for the side of Wellington. The Doomfist trying to take an off angle into the side. The Earth Shadow plus a nano boost is going to go off, taking down 4 members of the side of Notre Dame right here. And they're just keeping everyone at this choke point. The Junkrat's trying to make it out alive. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to pick him up. He might make it to the spawn, but he's really low on health right now.
And now 85% goes by, so that's going to be just 1 elimination left for Notre Dame to try to get through to this point as they look a little bit split up as they go through here.
They have that junk tire, though, waiting for them, so if they can create an opportunity to take a lot of forward pressure right here. But we've got Big Gab using the Meteor Strike on point with 3 people in his line of sight. That's 4 down for the side of Notre Dame right now. We are at 99% for the side of Wellington-Napolion, and I think that's the end of the first segment of Nepal.
All right, that's going to be one in the pocket for Wellnap as they get a victory there. But we saw in the first match, the teams managed to make it a 1-1 going on to the 3rd map. So I certainly don't see why that can't be the case here as we take a look back at the first match.
I feel like Notre Dame might want to make a little bit of a comp swap. Yes, I love D.Va. Yes, I love Sombra. I love EMP bomb combos. But if we're going to be playing into Village, which is this map, it may be more advantageous to go for a brawlier comp rather than the spread out comp, since the fact that the side of Wellnap is going for more of the disruption play, since they have an Echo who is more than capable of playing out of LOS of the enemy team and staying alive with a health pack from the Brigitte, and they have Doomfist who, is a Doomfist. They're kind of a one-man army, and they do a lot of disrupting.
And now Notre Dame is going to go through here, is going to get one of their members picked up by Big Av, and now Animation is going to take out Super Wolf as well with that Echo. And a hack going on there from Easy is going to have to flash back after taking some damage, and might just going to have to reset here as that D.Va falls off the edge.
Unfortunately, also, that Sombra did just get scouted by the Doomfist. That's something you got to keep in mind. Even when you are invisible, if you get too close to someone, you take damage, you will instantaneously become visible to the enemy team. And in those situations, it can cause a huge stagger, and that's never good for your team. Notre Dame right now is not looking super great on any of their ultimates, nor is Wellnap, other than that Doomfist ult. Doomfist kind of is more like Moira. You can get it off cooldown if you do enough damage. And that also allows him a lot of viability to get in and get out and survive, as he's able to take out the Sombra before the engage even completely happens. The Sombra, it might be time to just make a swap, go over to that McCree and make sure you can shut down that Doomfist. It'll also help you with that Echo. D.Va, it might be time to go to that Zarya play in order to allow a little bit more frontline sustain for your team, because right now Wellington-Napolion is just getting enough angles and spreading out this side of Notre Dame enough that they don't even have to take a full fight.
and that Reinhardt being caught up there in the corner, taking a bit of damage as the Moira is going to be eliminated from Notre Dame. A hack does go onto the Brigida from Wellnap, and now Maxi-Way getting eliminated as well, putting that stagger onto Notre Dame and still having 2 of their members caught out. And that's going to only bleed more time as Easy and Tired Alley, now Super Wolf, are eliminated as well.
So, like I said earlier, you need to know when you aren't getting value on a hero. And for Sombra, the rule of thumb typically is you need to have your EMP every 2 fights. And I'm going to say that we have had the equivalency about 2.5 fights thus far, and we do not have EMP at 80%. It's time to swap off and change it up. I understand it's nearly there, but a comp swap is necessary, especially after we have all these ultimates right now being popped by Wellington-Napolion. That's going to drop the ult advantages for them just slightly. They do have Space Jam ready to go though, and for the side of Notre Dame, they do not have an ultimate that'll keep them alive. But it won't even matter because Wellington's going to take that second map.
Well, this isn't the only event that you can look forward to. We also have the beatdown between Street Fighter V, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Tekken 7, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the in-person finals are going to be March 6th, so you are going to want to register at smash.gg/tournament / the Beatdown Boise State to get more information on that. So everyone asking, when are you going to host Super Smash Bros? This is your chance to get involved in that, and that'll definitely be a very fun event to watch when that comes around. So as we look back at that first match, it seems like comps was something that could have been kind of changed up.
Yeah, so I'm especially going to be talking to the Notre Dame team here because of the comp that they were running was kind of a half comp that they had. They wanted to go do more bunker down and sustain with minor disruption. You've gotta, when you have a full comp that is hell bent on disrupting your play, you cannot do a 3-3 split like that unless it is a 3 bubble of like a McCree, a Sigma, and a Hanzo or a Baptiste, and then you have your Zenyatta, a Reinhardt, and another DPS down low. In that situation, honestly, if you want to have the Diva, you want to have the Sombra, swap over to a Monkey, get a Lucio, get a Moira, just hack one target, everybody engage that target, and then use Amp and go after the next one. You guys obviously really love some of these heroes. You can play them very well, but it's a matter of playing into the comp that is more advantageous for victory in this situation.
Well, you are watching this Missouri High School Esports Association Overwatch match with Wellington-Napolion and Notre Dame. And it is 1-0 in favor of Wellnap right now as we head into the second map, which is going to be Volskaya.
Okay, so now I do believe we've got Notre Dame on attack this time. They've got a Symmetra, so we might be seeing a Symmetra TP to the left side to allow that McCree to get over onto high ground and take advantage of that. However, the Diva and the Reinhardt are going to have to be communicating a lot as to who's going to be anchoring point and who's going to be protecting the high ground. I'm also very interested to see how this Symmetra plays out, considering they do have a Zarya on the side of Wellnap, and if they've mispositioned some of those turrets, you could give a lot of charge to Zarya, or you could melt the Genji. So we'll have to see.
I mean, as quick as those Symmetra teleports look, and you know how it's just like, oh, they just all went through, it does take a lot of communication and organization to set one up. So we're going to be looking out. There goes the teleport, and they go through. But they've already been found out by the Hanzo, who was no doubt yelling to the other teammates to get over here. There goes up one Symmetra turret. Still no eliminations to speak of thus far, but they have made their way past to their... They have managed to get to the point.
They've also taken the high ground, which in this game is very important. I'm not just trying to make a Star Wars reference. However, they're getting their Reinhardt dropping by himself without his Diva or a support, got him antied, and they are now down their main tank without the opportunity to pull off a res because they've got a Lucio camping down by that Reinhardt's body. So they're just going to have to chill out and wait here for their Rein to get back. And honestly, I don't know how they plan to get him back because the TP's probably down. And he's going to have to charge through mid, which will be a little bit difficult going into that much damage. Oh, never mind. Wait, what? They did it? No, that was the McCree. They rezzed the McCree.
Okay.
I was really confused for a moment there. I thought they rezzed the Reinhardt. We see Zarya's over here chilling out in main now. They swapped off the Rhine in favor of Zarya so they could have a little bit more sustain to try and get up there, but that might not play out too good, as it looks like the side of Wellington-Napolion is going to do a pinch-off play and just sandwich the side of Notre Dame in that room. They've taken out the Baptiste. Genji's going to get the Mercy, and Lucio's going to pick up that McCree. Yes, having high ground is great, but that was a little mean. At least the Zarya made it out. Having high ground is great, but when you lose one of your tanks and you don't have the ability to go back and get them, you're gonna get pinched off. You're gonna get killed. You cannot stay in one spot for a super long amount of time, especially if the enemy team has a Lucio, because they'll just walk over to you.
And do you think staying on the Symmetra is the right call? Because normally with these Symmetra teleports, it's usually kind of a one and done kind of thing, because you've already kind of let the other team into your strategy.
It can be one and done. Typically it is. Sometimes the Symmetra after the first round will have approximately like 80% charge on wall, which is huge for a re-engage. You just wall down mid and then end up going. And that would be a situation which I would say, yes, keep the Sim, but now I would suggest swapping off and going in favor of someone a little bit more spammy, or maybe even a Reaper, swapping back over to the Reinhardt. I honestly, I'm going to say drop the D.Va, but I think this Zarya on the side of Notre Dame is their Reinhardt main player, while this their off-tank is their D.Va, who's more comfortable with off-tanks. So that's something also to keep in mind, is when you're making these swaps, making comps, you have to keep in mind who's comfortable on which heroes, and when you have to make swaps, how are you going to do it to utilize as much of the ultimates that you have if you're going to be sticking with some of the heroes?
And now Tyre, taking a bunch of damage, is going to just go into that icy water. And it just looks like the main thing that needs to happen for Notre Dame here is just a regroup, because you see this Symmetra placing down the portal and just walking through it immediately. And I just think that they need to kind of organize themselves a little bit better and just kind of let their respawns happen and go together as a group, because these staggers are just bleeding out their clock.
Staggering for the defensive team is a strategy, and when you're a D.Va, it's even worse, because once you lose mech, they can stagger pilot even longer. So that's also another thing to keep in mind while they're playing into this comp. We see the McCree Deadeye come out right here, is going to be able to pick up 2 of the players for the Notre Dame side. I do not believe they're going to have anybody who's going to be able to touch, and that comes down once again to those comp swaps. Also, for the side of Notre Dame, they had a couple of ultimates on, but they just weren't able to hit those Qs in time to do anything with them. The Zarya is going to manage to touch point, but it's not going to be enough, as the Genji's going to pick up that kill, as are the supports. So now we are going to the point where it's a 33% take, and Wellington will get Volskaya. So that means Notre Dame needs to change things up a little bit. Honestly, I want to see double bubble with double sniper and just have the Monkey and the Baptiste anchor point, using that immortality to sustain on point. You don't have to fight at choke. Just remember that. To the side of Notre Dame, you can use point, you just have to make sure that they don't capture it, so keep it contested. Have your Monkey go down, not using his jump ability to drop down, have a bubble on him, use the nade, jump up, get healed up, drop back down, use the immortality that time, use the next bubble, that sort of stuff. It's rotating those abilities and giving your DPS the opportunity to pop off. And if you run DPS that are heavily hit scan based, you can utilize that high ground with double bubble and the correct supports like an Ana and a Baptiste to hold out this point. But instead, Notre Dame's going in favor, in the Symmetra player, I believe their name is Easy, I'm a little blind at this distance, is going in favor of a Pharah, and they're also pulling out a Torbjorn. I'm not super... I don't know who the Torb is really meant for, unless it's just to put more front damage on that Reinhardt, since Torb is really good kind of more into, I hate to say this, but countering a Doomfist. He might not get as much value as a different hit scan might.
Well, it looks like they have both of their tanks kind of split up, recovering both routes just to see which one would be used. And there goes the reflect coming through for the Genji, and now Tyre is going to be taking a bunch of damage. Immortality Field is thrown down by the Baptiste as some repairs onto the turrets are going on, and a res coming through onto the Reinhardt to put them a bit more even, but that boop is going to come through for the Lucio, getting rid of the Mercy. And now Pharah and Orisa are taken out as well, and that is going to be a quick pickup for Wellnap, bringing them to 2-0 for the match. Well, Idaho Army National Guard is one of the partners of Boise State Esports that brings you all of the replays and top fives that you see at the end of the match. They bring you the top five, excuse me. We have other people bringing replays too. But they offer over 10 positions. Excuse me. They are one of the best teams to join out there with more than 10 positions and a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. I invite you to take your critical thinking skills into real time. You can reach out to them at Twitch at iGuardGaming.com. Just need to collect my train of thought there.
I totally get it. Mine gets muddled after playing or casting or even talking in general.
I mean, you got a little bit confused during that game too, which this is a confusing game, and it just, it puts us back to, a lot of the population when they first see Overwatch 2. It happens to everybody.
You say that, and I'm sitting here like, yeah, it's really confusing, and then in my mind, it instantaneously just goes to, my heart goes to my parents and the parents of these students that are watching, because my mom, every time I talk to her, she's like, I don't know what's going on. I just see your name pop up, and if there's a red arrow and it's pointing at your name, it's bad. If your name is pointing to another name, it's good. You're doing what you're supposed to do. You're shooting people, and you're getting the point, and that's all I really know about the game. And beyond that, my parents just get very confused. So
it's all Latin.
It's a relatable moment.
Yeah. It's a relatable moment, happens to the best of us. But as we analyze, as we go into game number 3, which game number 3 is going to be Kings Row. So what comes to your mind, your wide eyes, as you see that map?
Well,
yeah, I'll give you a little bit to think about it as we just quickly recap. It's the Missouri High School Esports Association, Wellington-Napolion versus Notre Dame High School in this third match, Wellnap at match point in Kings Row. So what's your overall thoughts here?
I'm not going to lie, Notre Dame, I want you to bring out, it goes by many names. I'm just going to list them off here. Statue of Liberty, Statue of Misery, Statue of Pain. You've got a Sigma player. You've got a Diva player. Diva, honestly, if you're comfortable, if you're okay with it, swap to Ryan or Zarya. Keep the Sigma. You can keep the May, swap the McCree for a Bastion, get a Baptiste, get a Mercy, stick that Bastion on top of Mendata's head, and just mow down the side of Wellington. I know you can do it. I know it's a cheesy play, but it's worth it in situations like this.
Well, they used Symmetra last time.
They did. So they obviously have someone who can play Sim. Put the TP on the head of Mendata.
Great, I'm getting the tongue twist Zenyatta Mendata in my head now, so thank you for placing that in my head.
I am so sorry. And also, one of the things I want to look at right here is the side of Notre Dame. They're going with a Zenyatta and a Moira. So Zen has the capability to heal through shields because the Orb of Harmony obviously just sticks on one person, but Moira does not have the ability to heal through shields. So that Sigma shield, though it does not have a lot of health, when you don't have people that are shooting directly at it, since, you've got a May and a McCree who should be taking off angle, it's going to be a little difficult for this Moira to get a lot of value, and honestly, they might have a better time if they swap over to Baptiste.
Well, it looks like there is no swaps coming through thus far, unless that McCree was a swap. So
actually, there was a swap. We now have Ana Zenyatta on the side of Notre Dame, so if they can play off of those anti-nades coming out from Ana, that'd be very huge.
Okay, so the swap onto Ana instead of the McCree. Wellington-Napolion finding themselves with almost an ultimate there. The Molten Core now online, might be used soon there as the Accretion and Anti-Nade is also used as 4 members are taken out. And with that Molten Core being used, that seemed like a little late in the engagement. Like they had already gotten the 4, the 4 eliminations.
Sometimes the Q hit is an ego Q hit, or it's a panic, like I was a little low and there was 2 people in front of me, I didn't want to die. I'm going to say it was that case and not the, I just want to clean up people and get a 4K in this one, so I already killed 2, now I'm just going to use my ult to kill the other 2. I'm going to say it wasn't that. I'm going to say it was because there was 2 people in front of them and they were low health.
Gravitic Flux is also available as Milk takes out Pine, putting Notre Dame at a 1-person disadvantage right now. Still no ultimates being used. Orb of Discord does go on to the Ana, which does go down to half health, but it is actually going to be Notre Dame's Ana that is taken out. They're going to find themselves pushed right up towards their spawn.
We've got short stack right here on the wrecking ball, just kind of chilling out by the spawn doors. Didn't quite do the ego, I'm going to go touch it, but they also are chilling out with landmines. If they use that in conjunction with Graphitic Flux, that's an entire team going down. We've got Widowmaker using grapple, trying to get a good sight on someone, not able to see anybody just yet, getting a couple marks on that Diva. For the side of Wellington, they've got every ult except for that Torbjorn ult, and unfortunately for the side of Notre Dame, the only ult online right now is that Transcendence. So hopefully they hang on to it and wait for the Graphitic Flux to happen. And Diva uses Defense Matrix to make sure they don't get anti during it. There's the Transcendence. However, the Orisa is going to get cut off because it is a line of sight style of healing that does happen with the Torbjorn ult landing, as well as the nade and the nano boost, and that is going to be cleaning up the side of Notre Dame.
So what do you normally do here? Because I found myself in this position in the past. What do you do if you're, just kind of bunched up into your spawn, if the other team is just pushing you so hard into your spawn? What do you kind of do at this moment to kind of regroup?
Honestly, my first thing is get out of the spawn doorway, please. You're taking a lot of damage. It's causing you to have to split your attention between trying to figure out a new composition, a new strategy, or keeping your team alive. So your brain focus is split too much. Get out of that spawn door, give yourself an opportunity to take a breather. They had 2 minutes and 30 seconds to do that earlier. Now they're down to the 30-second mark. Honestly, it's run it down mid, go to the high ground on the right side, get out of LOS, a lot of that Torb damage that's happening, and the Widowmaker, and go clear out the high ground. That was the huge thing that they were missing out on. They took too much time in choke point right here trying to get a pick, and if it's not working in that sense, get a different position. You can't just stay in choke, because otherwise you're just basically absorbing bullets.
And with the Molten Core going down, that is going to end. The Wrecking Ball did manage to get through and extend overtime a little bit, but that is not going to be a point taken for Notre Dame, and that is going to be round 1 complete. And now Wellnap just needs to get 1 tick, I believe, and they will take the match.
Yes, unfortunately, that is the case here. This is it's 1 tick, but it is a 33% tick. So there is an opportunity to produce staggers for the side of Notre Dame to sustain, but they really need to be playing smart and playing into things that are to their advantage. Their Diva spends a lot of time on low ground face tanking with the Reinhardt when they need to be on high ground using their defense matrix more sparingly, taking more of the heavy hitting abilities, not so much just the spam damage, and avoiding spam themselves to maintain their mech as much as possible, because when you're playing as Diva into this style of comp, you're the one that's taking care of the high ground. And unfortunately, playing like this is the anxiety-inducing Diva comp, which is your Diva has a lot of jobs, and your supports need to facilitate your Diva to do those jobs, but that Diva has a lot of things to process, a lot of things to track, and a lot of things to take care of. So unfortunately, Diva, if your team is going to get surrounded, you need to be the one that's going to step up and help out in that situation. You're the one with the most ability movement. Hopefully your Lucio goes with you.
And now just 10 seconds left before those doors open. Is there anything comp-wise that is catching your eye?
For the side of Notre Dame, I am actually very pleased to see that they have a Torbjorn pick going into this, because if you look at Wellington, they've got the Doomfist, and they have a Monkey, which both are very viable to that Torb turret. However, that placement's a little bit fishy. It's kind of too easy to kill, but it wasn't able to be taken out by that Doomfist, so it's going to give a little bit of time for the side of Notre Dame, but unfortunately, Monkey's going to be able to take out their Reinhardt as well as their Soldier. So it looks like Wellington's going to be able to clean up this point relatively fast. There's not going to be a lot of huge staggers. The Mercy and the Lucio are trying to stay alive as much as they can right now with this Diva on point. Now it's just Diva with Wrecking Ball rolling in, getting a pile drive onto the Monkey, but there's just not enough follow-up or sustain on that point for Notre Dame to hold. Nobody's touching it right now, though. Okay, there we go. There goes Moira popping Coalescence.
Oh, don't C9. Don't C9.
I mean, it wouldn't have been that bad of a C9. It's just there would have been a lot of staggers from Notre Dame to try to hold that point.
Well, that is going to put Wellington-Napolion as the winner for this match from the Missouri High School Esports Association. And what do you think, as a parting piece of advice to both teams going into next week if they want to get a win next week?
Okay, so for the side of Wellington-Napolion, yes, you guys did come out on top, but don't be afraid to get a Lucio in there is going to be one thing. Also, to all of the Baptistes I saw this evening, yes, placing Immortality right where your team is great. It can keep them alive, but sometimes placing it a little bit further back behind a wall so it can actually stay alive and tell your team to kite back into Immor. Will use it can give you a little bit more advantage to using it, help it stay alive longer, and also using it just slightly later, because a lot of them pop it preemptively rather than reflexively. And that comes down to knowing when the enemy team's going to be using something you need to use it for. And as well as to the side of Notre Dame, honestly, pick up a couple more heroes, get a more solidified comp, and clean up those comms.
Well, you can look right here at the schedule. We are currently on February 26th. That is the Missouri High School Overwatch matches, but there is so much more that you can look forward to. So many games, too. It looks like we even have Madden thrown in there, too. As well as another Esports Tower Rumble that'll be here next Monday, as well as Valorant, Rocket League. So much to look forward to. And as we prepare to close out this match, we want to tell you to please follow the channel if you're here for the first time. And we are going to be closing out, as we always do, with lots of great plays from today. Not a top 5, but all the good ones. So from all of us here at Boise State Esports, thank you for joining us. Be kind, wear a mask, and stay safe. Thank you for watching.
Both the Orisa and a Baptiste.
But is it too little too late? There goes the Gravitic Flux, and that just is going to be enough for Ozark to keep control of this point, getting 4 eliminations there. That is quite the play there. And followed up by the McCree, and Apex now going up against this May, who's going to throw up the wall and go back to point. Although they hop over the wall and get rid of the May to take the point in a statement. Oh, just when you think you're safe.
Yeah, May walls are great unless you're going against teams that have a Pharah, a Hanzo, Baptiste, or Junk, which are all heroes that have insane verticality ability. You gotta keep in mind. Yeah, I mean, like, if there's nothing better to do. Oh, and we see the Bastion come out. Oh, and you got shattered. That's always painful. Sorry, Reinhardt.
Oh, man.
Oh, but Apex just got super low with this monkey diving down onto them. However, I guess your Reaper popping in distracted Monkey enough. Monkey, just a heads up, Reaper and Monkey don't mix. That doesn't work. I really hope we see a Pharah comp swap, because Pharah can help take out a Bastion quite easily.
Well, Primal Rage and an Amplification Matrix going to be used by Ozark. Managed to pick up 2, and the Reaper tried to get away there, but wasn't able to escape this Bastion. And my goodness, it is just being relentless thing.
I know, but Graphitic Flux can be enough to pull them off the point and cap it if they use it the last possible second for that last tiny sliver of the blue. It's a Sigma 9. It happens. We see a pulse bomb, however, come out, and it's going to land on the Lucio, and Tracer's trying to keep this Mercy busy. They're down to the 6-second mark, and I don't think the Ozarks are going to be able to instigate overtime, as Apex is
just going thus far. The Dragon Strike is thrown out at the last moment. It doesn't look like it's really going to pick up anybody, as Crackle is going to give a final punch onto the Soldier, and now they're just staggering out St. John. So unless they only really swap here, I don't know if we're going to be seeing that double bubble that you were talking about. They only bubble to that Reinhardt, which definitely now the Hanzo peeks around. McCree taking out the Zenyatta, putting St. John at a slight disadvantage as they go past this choke point. And now the McCree again onto the Orisa, and it's just going to keep tumbling from there as 3 more eliminations. Now 4 come through for Ozark. 1.
Their DPS on point, but unfortunately that Junkrat's going to go down to the Zarya. Right now we've got the tank line and the Echo pushing up here at the corner for the side of Wellington. The Doomfist trying to take an off angle into the side. The Earthshatter puts a nano boost is going to go off, taking down 4 members of the side of Notre Dame right here. And they're just keeping everyone at this choke point. The Junkrat right here is going to be able to pick up 2 of the players for the Notre Dame side. I do not believe they're going to have anybody who's going to be able to touch, and that comes down once again to those comp swaps. Also for the side of Notre Dame, they had a couple of ultimates on, but they just weren't able to hit those Qs in time to do anything with them. The Zarya is going to manage to touch point, but it's not going to be enough, as the Genji is going to pick up that.
That's what you remind me.
Got something to say to lovers turn to strangers, but they stay fools. I'll break the chains, take the pain.